Some race days don't feel like another weekend on the schedule. They feel like a full snapshot of why people keep showing up to this sport, why fans sit through the messy parts as willingly as they celebrate the clean ones. Because every once in a while, NASCAR compresses the whole experience into a single stretch of hours. Pressure, mistakes, recovery, and the moment when a driver finally stops fighting the car and starts working with it. That's what Rockingham Speedway delivered here, and the reason it matters is simple. In one day, at the same track, with the same driver, we watched two completely different outcomes unfold. One built out of overload and errors, the other built out of discipline and control. Two races, same environment, and a swing in performance that says more than any stat line ever could about growth, mindset, and what it takes to earn real respect in this garage. And before we get into the details, if you're the kind of NASCAR fan who actually follows the learning curves and the turning points, not just the headlines, hit the like button and subscribe. NASCAR Nation Report is still early in its run, and the goal is 15,000 subscribers. This is a channel built for people who live and breathe this sport every week. Now let's walk through what happened, because this didn't feel like a standard weekend. It felt like a hinge, the kind of moment where a driver either gets exposed by the size of the challenge or proves he can absorb the lesson fast enough to keep moving forward. And at Rockingham, we saw both outcomes, back to back, in the same day. Cleetus McFarland arrived with something more serious than a casual cameo. This wasn't framed like a novelty attempt. He had a legitimate opportunity with real backing from Richard Childress Racing. Real people, real structure, real expectations. That kind of environment doesn't hand out patience for free. It gives you tools, it gives you a standard, and then it asks you to meet it. The first race at Rockingham was the difficult version of that reality. It started with a qualifying result that immediately made the day harder. McFarland rolled off 33rd. That's deep in the field. That's heavy traffic from the first lap. That's a place where you don't get clean air and calm spacing. You get pressure coming from behind, corners arriving fast, and very small margins for error. And when the day ended, he finished 32nd, only one position better than where he began. That plan didn't survive long. Early in the race, lap 3, everything that makes NASCAR difficult for newcomers started showing itself at once. The intention was to be measured. The intention was to learn. But the sport has a way of dragging you into the adrenaline if you let it. And when you make a mistake early, it isn't just a matter of losing a few spots. It changes the way you drive the next corner. It changes the way you process the next decision. Suddenly you're thinking instead of reacting, hesitating instead of flowing, correcting instead of committing. And once that mental loop starts, the next mistake becomes more likely, not less. That's exactly how it began to unravel. Instead of staying in the learning lane, McFarland went into the corner 3 wide as if he was chasing a win. He drove it in too hard, lost control, and spun. It's the kind of moment racing fans recognize instantly, because it's not mysterious. It's momentum and excitement overriding the plan. It's the driver trying to do more before the foundation is ready, and the consequence shows up immediately. The first spin didn't end the struggle, it opened the door for more of it. And what stands out when you track it in sequence isn't only the number, it's the rhythm of the day. The race kept giving him a chance to rebuild, and the moment he began to feel even a little steadier, something would happen that dropped him right back into survival mode. He even described that pattern himself. At one point he started to feel okay again, running with a small group, beginning to get comfortable, starting to sense the rhythm of what Rockingham was demanding. Then another mistake hit, and everything reset again. That reset effect is one of the most underrated parts of learning NASCAR at speed. It's not just that mistakes cost time, they cost confidence, and at a place where the laps keep coming and the field keeps moving, you don't get long pauses to breathe and restart your mindset. You have to fix the problem while the next corner is already arriving. Late in the race, the pressure got heavier. McFarland found himself on worn-out tires, with leaders closing quickly. That's where awareness becomes as important as raw driving, because now you're managing grip that's fading, traffic that's compressing, and the responsibility of not becoming a moving hazard. And in that moment, he admitted it straight. He felt like he was way in over his head, not a little behind, not still learning, over his head. That's not a dramatic quote. That's a clean description of how fast NASCAR can overwhelm you when multiple variables stack up at once: tires, positioning, judgment, decision-making, and the mental load of trying not to be the reason someone else's day gets destroyed. And the day still wasn't done piling on. He even spun on pit road, adding one more layer to how difficult that first race was from top to bottom. Now here's the part that matters for the bigger picture. What he did after the struggle was just as important as the struggle itself. Same Rockingham Speedway, same driver, same date on the calendar. But the second race turned into the other extreme of what NASCAR can do to someone. What happens when the lesson from the first failure gets applied immediately instead of filed away for someday? This time it was the ARCA race, with Rhett Jones racing and McFarland in the number 30 car. And suddenly the story changed from damage control to a result that demands attention. He finished fourth, a top 5 finish. And the key point here is the one that has to be said plainly. This wasn't framed as a lucky break. The performance was described as controlled, disciplined, a fundamentally different approach. McFarland said it himself. This was the most confident he has ever felt in a stock car. And you could see what that confidence looked like in the choices he made. He kept the leaders in sight the whole time. He didn't force moves that didn't need to be forced. He didn't put himself in positions where he was begging the car to save him. He managed the race instead of fighting the race. That's where respect starts getting earned in this sport. Because plenty of people can look quick for a handful of laps when the tires are fresh and the situation is clean. But staying clean and consistent over an entire race, keeping it together corner after corner, decision after decision without unraveling, that's the separator. That's what makes a driver feel real in the garage, even if the resume is still being built. And when you compare the two performances, the contrast is sharp. In the first race, McFarland essentially forgot he was still in the learning stage. He attacked early, pushed too hard, and kept stepping into trouble. In the second race, he respected the process. He stayed within his limits. He prioritized clean laps and consistency. He reduced the chaos by removing the unnecessary risks that had been triggering the spins earlier. He explained it in the simplest possible terms. He didn't do anything stupid. That line might sound basic, but in NASCAR, especially at this stage of development, it's almost a mission statement. Don't do anything stupid is how you keep the car under you. It's how you survive long enough to learn. It's how you give yourself a chance to let the race come to you instead of trying to force it into the shape you want. So what does this day at Rockingham actually mean? What we saw at Rockingham was a driver experience one of the roughest versions of a race. Spins, contact, worn tires, pressure from leaders, even a pit road spin, then come back on the same surface and show clear improvement through discipline, confidence, and better decision-making. Does that mean he's ready to line up every week at the highest level and contend? Not yet. The first race made that obvious, but the second race showed something that matters just as much as readiness, potential. All eyes go to what happens next, because this is the stage where development either continues or stalls. After what we just saw at Rockingham, it's hard to believe people will dismiss him the same way, because now the evidence includes both sides of the story, the chaos and the control, delivered within the same weekend. So if you're following this journey, hit like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cleetus McFarland went from a day full of mistakes to a day defined by composure at the same track, in the same window of time, struggling hard in one race, then showing what he can become with a 4th place finish. And if that kind of growth is the point of the sport, then this may be the beginning of something bigger.